The flashing lights didn't just catch my attention. They hit me like a shout in the dark, loud, accusing, unavoidable, filling the rearview mirror of my blacked-out SUV as I drove home on a quiet stretch of road most people only see during daylight. And right there, before I even pulled over, I had that familiar knot in my stomach, the one you get when you already know how this is going to go, even if you've done nothing wrong. The officer behind me didn't know it yet, but that stop was about to change both of our lives, and not in the way he expected. My name is Marcus Ellison. I'm a circuit court judge in the state of Carolina Ridge. But that night, none of that mattered. I wasn't wearing a robe, wasn't sitting behind a bench, wasn't anybody special. I was just a tired man in his early 60s heading home after a brutal week of hearings, thinking about leftovers in the fridge and whether my wife had remembered to set the coffee timer. The SUV was new, clean, quiet, the kind of car that makes some people uncomfortable when they see who's driving it, especially after dark. The road I was on cut through West Haven, an old money suburb with manicured lawns and a police department that liked things predictable. Officer Brian Keller was parked back in the shadows near a construction sign, sipping burnt coffee, watching cars roll by. He'd been on the force for over a decade, the kind of guy who thought experience meant instinct, and instinct meant never having to question yourself. When my SUV passed him slow-steady exactly at the speed limit, he leaned forward like he'd just spotted prey. He didn't turn the lights on right away. He rode my bumper instead. High beams blazing into my cabin, trying to rush me, trying to make me nervous. I kept my speed dead on. Hands on the wheel, eyes forward. I've put people away for trying to play games like that. I wasn't about to start now. That seemed to annoy him even more. Compliance to a certain type of person feels like disrespect. When the lights finally exploded behind me, I pulled over clean, signaled early, stopped smooth. Interior light on, windows down, hands visible. Stuff my father drilled into me decades ago, lessons passed down not because they were polite, but because they were necessary. Keller took his time getting out of the cruiser. I could see him adjusting his belt, resting his hand a little too comfortably near his holster. License and registration, he barked, flashlight already in my eyes. Evening, officer, I said calmly. May I ask why I was stopped? I said license and registration. Louder now, sharper, like volume equals authority. I told him where my wallet was moved, slowly handed everything over. He barely glanced at the name. He looked at my watch, then my face. Nice ride, he said. What do you do? Music, sports. I felt my jaw tighten. Same question, different uniform. I work for the state. For the state, he repeated, smirking. Doing what exactly? I'm some judge, I said. Clear, measured, senior circuit court judge. He laughed. Not a chuckle, a full laugh. Yeah, and I'm the governor. You think I haven't heard that one before? I asked him again why I was stopped. He said I drifted lanes. I hadn't. Said a taillight was out. It wasn't. I told him my dash camera was recording. That was the moment his tone changed. Hard. Step out of the vehicle. For what reason? I smell marijuana. There it was, the universal excuse, the magic words. I don't smoke, never have. The car smelled like leather and the citrus air freshener my wife insists on. I told him he was making a mistake. He reached for the door anyway. I unlocked it. I wasn't about to give him an excuse to escalate. I stepped out slowly, stood upright. I'm taller than him. That didn't help. He shoved me against the side of the SUV, spread my legs wider than necessary, cuffed me tight enough that the metal bit. It hurt, but I stayed quiet. Inside, I was cataloging everything. Time, words, pressure, because somewhere deep down I knew this wasn't just about getting home anymore. Cars slowed. Phones came out. Keller noticed. He got agitated, shoved me into the back of his cruiser like he was trying to erase the audience. Plastic seat. No space. No dignity. He radioed in charges that didn't exist, hinted at towing my vehicle, muttered about theft. I sat there, breathing slow, reminding myself that anger would only help him. At the station, the desk sergeant took one look at me and froze. He knew exactly who I was. His face went pale. Take the cuffs off, he said quietly. Keller protested. Said I was aggressive, said I smelled like weed. The sergeant snapped back. I voted for him. Silence dropped like a weight. Keller finally unlocked the cuffs, hands shaking. I rubbed my wrists, looked him in the eye. "You should stop talking now," I told him. "It's only going to get worse." My wife Elaine arrived minutes later, still in house slippers, phone already glued to her ear. The station tried to smooth things over, suggested letting me go quietly. I said no. I demanded a breath test, blood test, mugshot, documentation. Every single step, because I wasn't letting them rewrite the story later. Results came back clean. 0. All of it. Their captain showed up apologetic, offering to make it disappear. Elaine mentioned our attorney's name, his face drained of color. That's when I knew the real fight was about to start. The lawsuit hit fast and hard. Video footage showed Keller tailing me before any violation, muttering assumptions under his breath. Internal review uncovered something worse: prior complaints buried departments he'd left, quietly warnings ignored because someone vouched for him. This wasn't one bad decision. It was a pattern protected by silence. The turning point came days later. Keller, freshly fired, showed up drunk at my house, screaming at my gate, swinging a tire iron like he still owned the night. I stood inside with a shotgun, calm, steady, told my wife to call it in. When backup arrived, they took him down hard. The irony wasn't lost on anyone. The trial was public, messy, unavoidable. Keller testified. Under oath, he finally said it out loud. He stopped me because of the car and because of my skin. The jury didn't take long. Verdict for the plaintiff. Full damages. Enough money to cripple a city. The department was dissolved. Leadership resigned. Keller went to prison, stripped of the power he'd hidden behind for years. People asked me what it felt like to win. Truth is, it didn't feel like victory. It felt like confirmation of everything I'd known my whole life. I put the settlement money into a legal fund for people who don't get believed the way I eventually was. I stayed on the bench, and years later, when I see a traffic stop on a dark road, I slow down, I watch, I remember. So here's my question to you. Was justice served, or did it come too late? Was Keller a villain, or a symptom of something bigger? And if you were in my position, would you have walked away quietly or fought back, knowing the cost? Let me know in the comments. I want to hear what you think, and I want to hear your stories too.